Alright, I think we should do a little in-depth tour of the Falcon here, because I'm getting a lot of comments about me parking it here, and oh, the pine needles will eat away at the paint and the grass will eat away at the frame. I got news for you. This thing was a rotted out Flintstones car when I got it, so it's not really getting any worse. And as far as the paint goes, this green stuff is porch paint. I rolled it on with a roller, so I don't care what the pine needles do to it. You know, when I got the car, it was the original tan color. You can kind of see it coming through there. And it also had a bunch of primer, about 3 different colors of primer on it in little spots everywhere. And it was just butt ugly, so I threw some rattle can primer on it. Obviously that didn't last too long. And got sick of that and just roller brushed on some porch paint I had laying around. And that's why it's green, so I don't care about the paint. And there's Bondo everywhere in this car. It looks like at some point, let me clean off the oak moss, at some point there was a hole here, and they patched it with Bondo. And if we go around the side of the car, this there's a bunch of Bondo. I think it was this door. Doesn't look too bad now, I guess, but there's a bunch of Bondo in that. Obviously there's dings and dents everywhere. And in the back there was probably, well, you can see the Bondo here. I didn't even get down to the metal, but on the side it was just full of Bondo back here. I'm sure there's a ton of it all through this back panel. Yeah, you can see back here tons of Bondo. Yeah, it's all cracking up here, and that was what the previous owner did to it, not me. So the paint and the body are, yeah, they're kind of junk anyway. So I'm not really worried about what pine needles will do. And of course the bumper's all dinged up. And in the trunk here, of course, the quarters are rotted out. They were rotted out when I got it. Trunk pan isn't completely horrible. I mean, I can poke my finger through it in a few spots, but most of it's still there. And of course the quarters, I can stick my hand up in both sides. They're rotted away. And on the inside, I told you this thing was a Flintstones car, but this whole side is just a big hole here. I just tossed this little panel in so I wouldn't be dragging my feet on the ground when I drove it around. And same over there on that side. It's just rusted completely out. And the rear frame rails, they're gone. They're Swiss cheese. So I think we'll fire it up, air up the tires, drive it into the shop, and then I can jack it up and kind of show you what it looks like underneath. And all this stuff was here just like this when I got it, so like I said, I'm not worried about it rusting out. Alright, I got some air in the tires. I got a little bit of gas splashed down the carb, and I got a battery in it. Let's see if we can fire it up and take it to the shop and jack her up and take a real good look at this thing. If it starts, of course. Yeah, of course. Gotta play with the battery a bit. Alright, I cleaned up the battery cables a little bit. Let's give it another try here. Yeah, get a little bit out of it. Yeah, I think it'll stay there and idle. I'll shut the hood and then we'll head her back to the shop. Alright, let's get out of here. If we can. Nope. Might be a little stuck in the mud here. Yes, we are. There we go. I think I'll clear that tree. Yeah, no problem. Get her into the shop here and see what we're looking at. Well, that tire didn't hold air very well at all. Flat by the time I got it going. But whatever, it's in here. Maybe I'll see if I can pump it up and get it to hold. It's just growing a little patina, that's all, but let's get underneath it and take a good look at the underside of this thing. Alright, I got the thing in the air. Let's crawl underneath and take a peek at all the rust. A nice bumper. And I guess we'll start with the kind of heavier stuff here. I mean, you can see all the rust here. This back part where the leaf spring mounts to is just falling apart. Same on the other side. That one's actually broke right in half. And the leaf springs themselves are coming apart. This one's actually got a broken leaf in it, so it needs leaf springs for sure. Obviously, these quarters back here I can stick my hand in and I can see through into the trunk there. Basically the same on the other side, you know, just rusted right out. And I guess we can look at the floor pans up front afterwards. It looks like I got a little leak in the rear axle. And yeah, if we go outside, you can see kind of all the Bondo a little bit better, but little holes in the door. Rockers are kind of rusting away. Same on the other side. Let's see if we can crawl under here and get a good look at that non-existent floor pan here in the front. Yeah, this is a big hole. This is just that piece I have sitting in there, so that's all rusted out. Yeah, that's falling apart. Same in the front, or passenger side I mean. That big hole over there, it's rusted out. And it was like this when I got the car, so I don't think it's going to hurt it much. Sit here. Yeah, that's where the seat bolts to. It's rusting right out. It's a rust bucket, man. But it still moves, I guess. Well, that's pretty much the tour of this thing. Aside from all the rust and the rough body and the missing interior, it also needs some work on the transmission. It's got a bearing going out in it, making a lot of noise, and the engine's not the original engine. It's got a 200 from a later car. These things originally came with the 144 or the 170, and this one's got a 200, so not a restoration piece. And since I know I'm going to get asked, people are going to say, well, if you're not going to restore it, what are you going to do with it? And obviously I'm going to have to do the floor pans in there. I'm going to have to go into that transmission, pull that out, fix that bearing. And as far as the rear frame rails go, I know they make little patches for early Mustangs you can put in there, and I haven't looked too much into it, but I might be able to make those work to fix the rear end of those frame rails, and that should sturdy it up. And if that works, that'd be great, because they're only like 20-30 bucks a piece, so it'd be a nice, cheap, easy fix. The springs, I have an old Ford Ranger out back that I think the length is about the same on, and I have to go check it again, but I could throw those in there. It would jack up the back of the car a bit, but that might look kind of cool. Body wise, I'll probably just throw some filler on it, because why not? It's got a ton on it anyway, and smooth it out at least a little bit. And I was thinking Rust-Oleum has a kind of a cool hammered green paint. I was thinking maybe I could just roller that on, brush it on, whatever, and maybe do a hammered gold down the middle on the sides here. I think that might look kind of cool. Yeah, it would be a decent amount of work, but you know, I think it'd make a nice little daily driver or something. As far as the timeline goes, it's, you know, kind of flexible, I would say. I got a lot of other projects going on, and I have to go to work still. Still got to pay the bills, so this can sit on the back burner. I don't think it's really going to hurt it much, much more than it already is. Glass is still good. The good parts are still good, and they're not going to go bad. And the bad parts are already bad, so I'm not too worried about it. But there's pretty much the story on this thing and what's going on with it.